Hello, and welcome to today's live Google Business Profile audit with Amanda Jordan. So, very excited for this. Oh, here she is. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that the session will be recorded and you can find it on the YouTube channel afterwards, and we'll share it on the website and across socials. If you want to continue the conversation after we finish today, then please join the Facebook group, which is the Local Pack. So it's a place where local marketers can get together, ask questions, answer questions, basically get together and talk local things. And Jenny will share the link there in the live chat. So, hello, Amanda, and welcome.
It's
How you
good
doing?
to be back here. Like, I love doing things with Bright Local. Yeah, I'm doing great. I feel great. I'm excited to do this. This is one of my favorite things to do. I've done this before on LinkedIn and just took a random website and audited it. So for local SEO specifically. So very excited to share what I learned.
Brilliant. And thank you for being here. It's just lovely to see your face after all this time. Always nice to hang out with you. So I am going to just say to you, Amanda, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so my name is Amanda Jordan. I'm the Director of Digital Strategy at Rickety Brew. We are a local SEO agency that works with everyone from small 1 to 2 location businesses to multi-location businesses with up to 300 plus locations. My background in local SEO, I started in 2011 working with doctors and medical and healthcare sites for local SEO. I worked with lots of car accident and injury lawyers. I've worked with car dealerships. I've worked with franchises. So kind of ran the gambit as far as types of clients, and had a lot of time and spent a lot of time and energy in very competitive markets and doing a lot of testing to see what actually works for different industries, different locations and geographies as well. Love speaking about SEO. I speak at conferences year round because it's just fun to me to share what I've learned and help business owners get the most out of their websites and Google business profiles.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I have seen you do a couple of audits before, and I love watching this and seeing your processes. So we are like in for a total treat today. So we're going to start with the first audit in a moment, which I'll let you introduce. But first of all, always just like to start with a definition, because you're going to look at a service area business. So just to remind everyone working in local marketing, when we're marketing those businesses, what do we need to know about the service area businesses?
Yeah, so with service area businesses, you're not just concerned about the customers that are very close to you, right in your backyard, but also in the surrounding area. So you have to think about kind of information architecture. You have to think about internal linking. You have to think about quality content that will serve a wider area. There's a lot of very fun and challenging parts to that makes it a little bit more difficult than being very straightforward and going after your backyard. And it comes with a lot of unique challenges, a lot of thinking about things in a scalable way, in a way that works with your workflow and the resources you have for your business at that time. And there's a lot of missteps that can happen along the way that are very easy traps to fall into when doing service area business focused local SEO versus focusing only on your backyard. And there are also obviously a lot of benefits if you can figure out how you can reach a wider market by focusing on a bigger service area than just in your backyard as well.
Mm-hmm. And when people think about like service area businesses, we often default to home services, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
But can you just give examples of maybe just like, I don't know, 2 or 3 little niches or verticals that would be service area businesses?
Yeah, so car accident injury lawyer, those are often service area businesses as well. Of course, plumbers, HVAC, home services, like he mentioned, are service area businesses. Also, like senior healthcare and home healthcare can be service area businesses as well, because if they're coming to you, doesn't matter if they're driving from a further distance, they still can serve your area because they have healthcare workers in that area and caregivers in that area that can drive to you as well. So those are 3 examples of that, but there are a lot of photographers that are often willing to drive out to you or to a destination. So really, it typically seems to be any business where they are likely to come out to you and meet you at your location. Not exclusively, but that tends to be a lot of what we see as service area businesses.
Fantastic. Brilliant summation. Thank you very much. So let's go straight into the first audit. And if you maybe just let us know a little bit about the business, and then we're going to watch the magic.
Sure. So this first audit is going to be for Aspire. I want to share my entire screen so you can see everything. So first, it's going to be for Aspire Heating and Cooling. They have 2 locations, but the one I'm going to be looking at is in Clemens, North Carolina. I live in South Carolina, so that would be fun to do someone that is kind of nearby, kind of in my backyard. And I thought that I saw a lot of interesting things that I wanted to point out that could be helpful. We do work at my agency, we do work with a lot of HVAC home services companies. So it's really interesting to see some of the perspective and what other people are doing in these industries. So one thing you'll see immediately is like, where did these come from? How come I can see these in search results? This is GMB Everywhere. It's a plugin that you can use in Chrome that will show you the primary with a star beside it and all the additional categories of business it's using. And it will do that for the listings as well, like the Google Maps listings as well, where you can see your competitors at the same time. So you can do a comparison in the live Google search results. So one of the things that I will first do is look at it from a perspective of how complete is their Google business profile. They are using the right categories. Just one tip based on what we see, the category we use as our primary category does depend on season. So if we're in if it's super hot outside and it's going to be that way for the next 4 months, we typically focus on air conditioning. And then when we know that seasons are changing and we're more likely to see more heating issues, people are just starting to turn on their heaters and then they're like, oh crap, it's broken. Then we switch over to heating so that we can capture more of that traffic, because your primary category does impact kind of what you show up for in Google Maps. So that's just something to be aware of. Going down the listing, let's see. Posts, the most recent post is from June. While posts don't impact your rankings directly, it could be something that is a differentiator as far as providing deals, promotions, additional information that may encourage someone to click through to your website or to take an action and call. So I would try to do more regular posts, just because one, it's not like a very time-consuming tactic. They can be very quick to put together and put up, especially if you have media, images, things that you're using in other places that you can reuse here as well. Photos. I see a lot of photos where you actually have your truck with the branding and things on it. I think that's great. A lot of HVAC companies miss out on these opportunities. It's very smart to do it. You have someone here. It'd be great if you could see more of his shirt while he's working on it. One of the things that we think about a lot is how Google is actually using AI to look at these images and understand what is going on in these images. So having images that have your branding on it and is clearly displayed, and that Google understands that this is a AC unit that someone's working on, would be great. Obviously this is someone working, so it wasn't not necessarily like a photo sheet where this was happening, but just something to consider is that having the pictures taken away where you can see more of either the logo or the business name is great when you have the actual technicians, because Google will understand that these are technicians working as well. So having your brand and the technician and the unit that they're working on all together does help Google get a better understanding what the image is about. And another factor that comes into play here is when someone searches for something and Google knows you have an image of it, that is the image that is most likely to show up in search results with your listing. So if I was looking for PlayStation 5 controllers and Best Buy has a picture of a PlayStation 5 controller in their Google business profile, that picture of the thing that I'm looking to buy is going to be what shows up, not a generic photo of a Best Buy store. So that is good for like the customer psychology and them knowing that, oh, they have the specific thing that I'm looking for. So that's just another thing to consider there. More photos here. This is good. Let's see. I would just go ahead and get the whole address here too and just zoom out and have another one. Just because one of the things that businesses face often, and if you worked on more than 5 Google Business Profile listings, you're aware of suspensions and spam and all of those things that come along with that. A good way to protect your business, even from being like a faulty potential suspension that I've seen happen before, where a legitimate business is in a legitimate location and somehow their listing got suspended. They're not breaking any of the guidelines. It just kind of just happened. Maybe it's a competitor reporting them enough times. Maybe it's something else. But having a full photo in your listing that shows that you are definitely at that location can help kind of squash any potential red flags from Google when they have someone review the listing itself. Yeah, more good photos, lots of photos, which is also great to see. I think that's a lot of things that we see HVAC home services companies missing, is having a good variety of photos. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. You can see the logo, you can see the company name, you can see the units right here. You can see the manufacturer or brand on the units. That's giving Google a lot of information about what's going on in this image and tying it back and giving it an understanding of what this business does through photos. So yeah, I think that's enough of reviewing the photos. Good job there. I think it looks really good. Questions and answers. A lot of businesses miss this step, and I can tell that you have someone on your team that knows SEO because you have questions and answers that you put yourself here, which a lot of businesses do not take advantage of the fact that they can do that. So that's a super smart thing to do, to proactively answer questions that customers may have. It also shows engagement on the profile, so your customers feel like you are actually looking at this and using it versus it being something there. And if they do have a question that's not going to get answered, it makes them feel like you are actively involved in managing this profile and communicating with your clients and caring about the questions that they have because you're proactively going after them. Nice to go to reviews. Lots of bolded justifications here that Google's giving, just basic ones. And for those who aren't aware, justifications are kind of elements of your Google business profile that can be used and bolded in search results to bolster your visibility. And it does have an impact on people who see them. So what I want to do is look at your reviews. You respond to reviews. That's great. Sometimes we see that businesses respond to all the positive reviews, but not the negative ones. So that is also something I would check and see if you respond to negative reviews too. And you do, which is awesome. Because when someone is shopping around, there's some older ones that don't have responses. I feel like that's okay, because if you go and respond now, that person gets notified that there's a response to their review. And if they're still sore about it for some reason after 5 years, they may come back and add something else. So it's good. Like, it's fine not to respond to super old reviews. Anything that I would say in the last 2 months, 2-3 months that isn't responded to, I would go back and respond to. Just because people are starting to get skeptical of good reviews on different tools. And seeing that you respond to the negative reviews and how you treat your customers in those situations gives them a lot more insight than just saying that you have a great rating and a lot of reviews and you respond to positive reviews. It tells them what it's really like to work with you. If there is an issue, this is how they're going to treat me. Like that's a sign of what your customer service experience is like. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of the profile here. I'm going to go back and look at a couple things here. I think this is smart to make sure that you have your veteran-owned tag here. Hours are filled out, which is great. You have a booking link and you have a website link. Neither of these have UTM tracking codes on them, so that would be something I would recommend, is adding a code so that you can better track and understand how your Google business profile is impacting your overall website traffic, leads, and things like that are coming through the website, not just through your Google business profile.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, Amanda, just
Yeah.
because you just were looking at the opening hours there. I see a lot of service area businesses that can be tempted to mark themselves as open 24 hours. Any ideas about whether or not that's a good idea for them?
It's only a good idea if you're actually really open 24 hours. You don't want a customer calling you and they get an answer machine, or they get some automated response that tells them to call back, or they call and they talk to someone and it's a call center and they say, well, we don't have anyone available until X amount of time, like X time later on. So from a customer experience point of view, I don't think it's a good idea unless you have some justification for it. Like you do have like emergency services. A lot of HVAC companies do have emergency service where they are available all the time. They may not be able to come out, but you can actually talk to a person that works for the company and they'll be able to tell you when someone can come out the next morning, next day, something like that. Then I think that's completely justified. On the other hand, just so people are aware, if you are open and you're the only one open, you are more likely to rank well if that's a consideration too. I don't know if I agree with the 24 hours. I would just make sure that I'm not putting myself in a position where it can potentially hurt my reputation with my customer base, or something that where I can't deliver what I'm saying that I can deliver. Those would be my two concerns. There is an upside to it. It does boost your visibility if your competitors are not open at that time. But if that's the case and you think that's a winning strategy, then actually be open at the times your competitors aren't open instead of using 24/7.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna move on. I looked at the Google Business profile. I think it's pretty good, better than average for sure. I gave a couple of tips of things that I would do differently. Looking at the about, I don't think I saw a business description here, which is not like a ranking factor. I think it's good to have just for completion, like making sure your listing is as complete as it possibly could be. But other than that, I think we're pretty much done here. I know this industry well enough to know what categories and things that should be here. So it's not like I feel like I need to look and see what your competitors are doing for that. In other cases, in other industries, I would. And one of the things I would do is look at like, hey, who's ranking for the keywords that I want to rank for most often? And what categories are they using the most? That's something that you would want to know. Of course, and then of course, if you're using Bright Local, you can see that in your Google Business Profile Audit, and you can also see that in the local search grid. So those are two places you can go and find that information. If you're like, I already have Bright Local, but I don't know where to do it, and that will give you that information. So I'm gonna link that for the next one since I'm good in the categories. So one of the things I did here is, let's see. So I wanted to see how we rank based on like how full and complete our Google Business Profile is. We're doing pretty good in some areas. Of course, the further you go out from where we're located, the more effort needs to be done to improve our rankings in those areas. And there's some things that come into play here when we're looking outside of our immediate area. And this is truly the service area part of it that we should start considering. One of them is proximity. Is it possible for me to rank this far from my business based on what Google is rewarding consistently? One of the things that is cool that I don't know if a lot of people know about is that if you click on any of the grid items here in the local search grid, it will show you your how far away you are compared to the other businesses that are ranking for the same keyword in that same area. So we are 7 kilometers away. Our competitors are a bit closer. Number 4 is 4 kilometers away. It may not be a huge factor. There may be some things that we can do in this area that could help us out a little bit. We are about twice as far away though. So it would be a maybe, not a like definite we can do this situation. Here we are 999 away. We don't have a proximity for them. They are 4 away. I would say this one is probably more on the unlikely side. There's likely people who are so close that we're not going to be able to outperform them, at least in Google Maps, because this is only looking at Google Maps. There's other factors that play for organic where proximity is not really a factor at all, and we could still potentially rank there. Looking at this, 7 away, these are 6 away. So we are outperforming some people that are closer. They're about 5 away. So we may be able to weasel our way up here, and maybe possibly to 3. It depends on what we see our challenges for organic too, because things that impact organic, there is some crossover as to what impacts organic and what impacts your local rankings. So if we're like number 1 in this city already, in this area already, but we're ranking here in Google Maps, there's a good chance that there's not much else we can do. But if we look at our organic and we're very far behind in this area, that is a sign that there may be things that we can do that will boost us organically and locally in Google Maps as well. So yeah, I think you're doing pretty good considering for a Google business profile, considering like proximity as the factor. Yeah, this one you're like 11 kilometers away. You have a lot of people who are much closer. When we look at kind of like overall for this area, who's taking home the most, like you're currently taking home the most as far as visibility. So that is a good sign for your Google Maps, is that there may not be a ton of things you can do for pushing specifically Google Maps visibility itself on its own. You're outperforming someone who's considerably more links than you already. You have a higher authority than they do. You have more reviews than they do. You have some competitors that have more reviews, but they're not outperforming you as far as visibility. You have some competitors that are using different primary categories, but you're outperforming them. So I don't see a ton that you can do with your Google business profile. There are things that you can definitely do to improve that I pointed out in that review, but that's not, I don't think that's like the root of this, because you are strong here. So I went and looked at the same keywords from a organic perspective. And as you can see, super strong locally, but not as strong organically, which tells me that there are things on your website that you can do that can improve your visibility pretty significantly. And that you could have more of the real estate on the first page, because we can see here that AC repair near me, like in Clemens, we're not ranking extremely well, which means that we could rank well because we're located there. We rank well for heating service, so it's not like Google's ignoring us for some reason. We can get first page results for that too. And then it comes into looking at your organic visibility. One of the things that I like to do is use this free, like on the fly when I'm looking for things. I like using this free Bright Local tool. And you can use it to look at search results for any specific location. And I'm going to look at page 1. What does it show me? Like we're here in Google Maps, but we're not going to see ourselves very high organically. That tells me that there are things that we can do organically, likely with content, to improve our visibility, because we're getting pretty far down and I'm not seeing us yet. So first thing we're going to do is kind of compare. If we were closer up, I would look at the exact page we're ranking and compare it to a competitor. But let's just pull up these competitor pages and then go to the Spire website and look at the page that should rank for AC repair. And kind of figure out what's the main difference. This is Meta and one SEO tool. I think that's what it's called. Air conditioning repair, Clemens, Winston-Salem, Montsville. So we have our keyword in our page title here. There's nothing funny going in here where we're accidentally de-indexing the page or something like that, which is good to know because sometimes that does happen. And then if we go to headers, it says we have no H1 tag. We have H2, that's AC repair, H2, H3s, but no H1 tags and no header tags that mention the city and the full keyword. So this is definitely an opportunity with optimization for content on this page, because if this is missed, there is highly likely other opportunities on the same page to make improvements with content. Yeah, this isn't live text. So one of the things I would definitely do is start updating some of these features so that they're live text instead of part of an image. I would update these header tags, make sure that AC repair is written in the way that is most likely to be searched. Since more people are going to be searching AC repair as one word instead of with a slash in the middle, that is the variation that I would go with. I would include the city name in this section right here. And I would likely make these only about Clemens, unless I see evidence that Winston-Salem is somehow less competitive, because I know that you have a location there, and I know that's another focus. I would make separate pages for Winston-Salem, or at least a location landing page for Winston-Salem that's separate from Clemens, or choose which one you want to be like the home section, and then choose the location that's less competitive to have like a landing page that focuses specifically on that city, just because it can be difficult if Winston-Salem is competitive, and I imagine it has a bigger, just from what I remember about that area, it has a bigger population than Clemens. It could be harder to rank there, and you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance in the city where you have the most opportunity to get leads. So that means focusing these pages on Winston-Salem only, and then making a separate section about Clemens. That may be the best way to go. If you're already ranking well in Winston-Salem doing this strategy, then I would say keep things the way it is. But just based on Clemens' rankings, I would assume that Winston-Salem probably has some organic issues as well, and this may be contributing to that. So AC repair, one word, in Clemens, or Clemens AC repair service, or something like that as your H1 tag. H2 tags focused on the service itself. Why should someone choose you for AC repair over your competitors? Any like guarantees and stuff like that are great, but as live text and not as part of an image. And I know one of the things that is most difficult for pages like this is to make sure that the content is unique and actually speaks to your local audience. That would be another thing that I would look into. I also think this page is a little text heavy in some areas, but a little text light in other areas. I would work on kind of redoing the layout of these pages, because I do feel like pages that are based on services or location are also pages that can lead to conversions directly without having to visit any other page on the website. So making them a page that is easy to understand, easy to read, easy for people to determine that they want to work with you without having to go to any other page on your website. So you really want them to be the hero pages of your site, your service pages, and your location pages, because those are the pages that can rank the best in Google search results. And those are pages that people are more likely to land on once they get to your site. And if I have an AC problem, my AC is out and it's 100 degrees outside, I don't want to have to go looking for a bunch of information. Once I land on the website, I want to be able to know that I can trust you, that I can go and call you now. So making sure that you're making those opportunities very easily present and logical on these pages is going to be extremely important. Like even with this form submission, I would maybe put that up here somewhere where it's like at the top of the page instead of the bottom, not to take away from any of the content things that we're going to be doing, but as a sidebar or something like that, just so that it's very obvious, very at the top of the page. It makes it easier for people to choose to convert. And then I would look at do this for every page. Now let's look at what our competitors are doing. This is another part of it, is like, if you're not sure what you should be doing to improve your content, because it's very easy after you've looked at lots of HVAC sites across lots of cities to know kind of like what you want to see. But looking at your competitors could be a good place to start. I would not depend on what your competitors are doing to decide what is the end goal in your strategy. It is just a good place to start for you to understand what Google is rewarding and what features you may be missing that could be impacting your visibility and conversions on that page as well. Because we don't just want to drive a bunch of traffic to these pages. We want to drive people who are more likely to become actual customers, who are more likely to call us to these pages. So interesting things this competitor is doing: coupon at the top of the page, phone number at the top of the page. Don't care for this huge image being here. Expertise right here. Schedule service form higher on the page. Let's see. Clemens AC repair, air conditioner installation, Clemens, North Carolina. So keywords in the page title. They have an H1 tag. You're a Clemens cooling specialist. Not keyword stuffy, which is interesting that they kind of kept it in a more customer focused light with their H1 tag. And it's the content also is focused on questions that the customer may have. What are some signs that you need to replace your AC system? What are some advantages of potentially going with this AC system instead? What are some simple ways to save money on your cooling costs? Because those are the types of questions that I want to know the answer, especially signs that I need to replace it versus repair it. Because this is on the repair page that they're putting content about replacing it, because a lot of time people think that their unit could just be repaired, and then they find out that it's actually cheaper or cost-wise comparable just to replace it and not have to worry about that unit again and have a new warranty on it. So just something to consider is thinking about what will be best for my customers. What questions are they going to have about my service? How can I give them everything they need to make a decision on this one page? And I think this competitor does a better job of communicating that.
Yeah. Amanda, I'm going to probably stop you there just on this audit because we need to do the other one after.
Okay.
We all wish, Amanda, that could talk at length about our business forever and ever and ever. That was brilliant. So much insight, not just about like on page and about other bits, but also it's like a conversion rate optimization masterclass as well. So thank you very much. I think that we have got Jenny. We're going to have a couple of questions based on that audit. So let's see those up on the screen. We'll do a couple of those and then we'll move on to the next audit. So we ask we have a watcher asking, would it be just as valuable to edit the photo with a logo on it, or does the business name logo need to be in the natural photo?
Well, that's a good question. That's not something that I've tested to see if Google can tell the difference. I mean, if you have someone that's really good at Photoshop, I can't imagine that they can really tell much of a difference because you could blend it. You could fake having the fabric on it, like layer it. Yeah, you could have it look like it's on there to the point that you could fool someone if they were looking at the photo. So that is something that you might be able to do. And it's primarily just for Google to kind of build associations and understand the context of the photo itself. I think it would be better just because you want to have things that you can use across a lot of different, like, I would not consider this as I'm doing this for my Google business profile and there will never be another use for it. I would want to have photos that I know I can use for other marketing materials that I may need in the future. Like if you can hire someone that's extremely good at Photoshop, you may be able to do that still, but I would want to get the more natural photo if I could.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And I think people will appreciate that. And the other marketing benefits of actually seeing someone in the shirt actually on the ground as well. So let's have another question. Is it okay? Oh, the Q&A. Can the owner ask and answer questions? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's allowed. So I encourage people to do it, honestly, especially if you see or there are questions that your customer service team gets asked often. I would even ask them, what questions do you get asked most often, and go ahead and put those questions and answers there so that you have a place for people to reference if they're finding you on your Google business profile or on Google Maps for calling or filling out a form. That doesn't mean that they're always going to look at it and know that it's there, but if you have it there, you're at least covering it to the point that if someone is doing research, someone's looking for more information, they have it readily available. And if your competitors aren't doing it, you are the only one that's providing that information readily available. So it's much easier to decide to contact you versus someone where they know they're going to have to come with a list of questions beforehand to figure out what is going on.
Perfect. And we got one more that we can do, and then we'll go and we'll look at our next one. So Lawrence asks, should service-based businesses leverage the product portion of GBP with service descriptions and images?
I think to me, this is it depends. I think Google's eventually going to see this and decide that like, if this is a service-based business, we're just not going to give them the ability to have products on it. That's what I think is going to happen. I do think there's a benefit because the product section does allow you to have visuals and the services section does not. So there is some benefit there, but the service section
and links.
Yeah.
And links.
Yeah, and links. So am I going to tell anyone not to do it? Of course not. I'm going to tell you to use it to your advantage as you can, because there's only a 0.0000001% Google's going to take any action against anyone that does it. What's more likely to happen is that they'll just remove the functionality for service area businesses or service-based businesses or specific category types. So there's not like a risk really involved other than it potentially going away, but it would be going away for all your competitors too. So it's not like anyone has that advantage anymore. So I would use it, especially if you are in an industry where photos are important and extremely important to your business. Is another place where you can add images where people can see more about your products and get a better context to what your services are.
Perfect. So use it until you lose it.
Yeah.
Let's go to the second business that you are going to audit.
All right. The second one I'm going to audit is Rig Roofing. So I'm going to take this stuff down just so I don't confuse myself. Let's see. All right. Rig Roofing has multiple locations. I saw that, or they have multiple GBPs.
Okay.
We're going to focus on the one that they sent in, though, and it's this Winter Haven, Florida location. Right now, they have roofing contractor as their main category. I'm not sure if there's any other categories they should be using. So I'm going to look in their local search grid and see if there's anything else no one else is using anything else. So that answers that question. Like they're doing the right thing by using that category. Another thing that you can use too is Flipper. Like you can go in and it'll show you which categories your nearby competitors or people who are ranking for the same keywords in the same area are using, or the categories they're using. But we can see using Bright Local. If you have access to Bright Local, you can look at your local search grid or your Google Business Profile Audit, and it'll show you which category they're using as their main category too, and the additional categories. Okay, so that's good there. They have a good amount of reviews, good rating as well. Their hours, 8:30 to 5, looks accurate. Again, not seeing UTM tracking for these pages, for the appointment link or for the homepage. That I would definitely recommend adding those just to have a better tracking of what's going on. And then because you have more than one location or more than one Google Business Profile that I saw, I would potentially recommend using these service area pages. And if you have a service area page for that GBP location, linking that instead of the homepage. Whether that is going to do anything for you or not really depends on the quality of that location page that you have. If you're seeing that your homepage works better than a location page, that is typically a sign that your location page is not very well optimized, because you have a page that is personalized for that location. It should outperform your homepage for the majority of your keywords that are localized. So I would really look into that if that is a reason why you're not using a Winter Haven specific page. Or if Winter Haven is just your main location, that's also fine to use the homepage. That makes sense too. But I would definitely add the UTM tracking so that you can get a better idea of how a Google Business Profile attributes to actions on your website and looking at it in Google Analytics. All right, so it looks like you have a recent post here, which is a good job. Like I said before, it could be very good for kind of getting the attention of users if you have something that is useful to them, or an announcement or information or offers or deals. And then it also helps just make your profile look more full and more interesting and more engaging to potential customers, especially if they're shopping around and looking at different Google business profiles to determine who they want to work with. We have some questions and answers here.
Oh, Google's broken.
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
There it is. All right, DL for financing. It looks like sometimes you have the business profile responding and sometimes they're, let's see. So if you have an issue where Google is choosing someone else's response instead of yours when someone asks a question, go in and have people like that response that you gave so that you can try to push it up so that the official response for the company is the top ranking response and then the one that shows up here, because they'll just, like, unless they click, they're only going to see the top response here. Now let's look at reviews. We saw that already, that they had a lot of positive reviews. As far as sorting it, let's see if they respond to reviews. They do respond to their positive reviews. Let's see if they respond to their negative reviews. They do respond to their negative reviews. I see some apologies in here, like taking accountability, which is great. I don't think negative reviews are things that businesses should be afraid of. It is really just an opportunity, and it also makes your business look more legitimate versus someone who only has positive reviews and only responds with generic review responses because they're all positive. It looks like there's not any human involvement with your Google business profile when that happens. So a really good job there. That is very rare to see happen. And if someone is, like, if I was looking for a roofer, well, partially because I work in local SEO, I do look at the negative reviews, and I do consider how they respond to their customers when there is a conflict. But I also saw that there was a research done. I can't remember who did it, but 56% of customers said that they read the negative reviews to get a real understanding of what the business is like. So that is definitely something that I would consider doing, is making sure that you respond to your negative reviews. I haven't looked at photos yet. Photos of, let's see, this is the Google photo.
Oh,
There's a video. I would definitely see if I can do anything to improve the quality here of this video, just because it is a little bit blurry. Pictures of roofs.
Lovely.
There's another video here. Yeah.
Nice.
I would try to see, like, this one at least has a watermark on it, but I would try to get more photos where you can include your branding in some way. If it's just someone after the job is done standing on the roof and they're wearing a rig roofing shirt and you can see it on the back, I think that would be a lot more impactful for these photos, where it's showing the roofing work that you've done, for sure. Yeah, I think that'd be great here if you had a couple of people on the roof wearing your logo, a shirt or something with your logo on it. Would be really impactful here as well. And then you have a team member. I think it's always good to include people from your team with the logo behind them. I think image quality is an issue for a lot of these photos. It would be something that we'll look into and work on. Yeah. But yeah, I think the main recommendations here, work on the image quality, work on getting some pictures, like with these vehicles and stuff, like they're at job sites. It's not showing up for some reason. I think Google has had a little bit issue. There it is. Like, you have all these trucks, so that you can do photos like that. So I think it'd be a great idea to have the rig trucks at a job site. Make sure you take a picture of it outside after the job is done, showing the finished roof. Getting pictures of someone finishing a roof while they're up there, so that you have, and having them wearing a rig shirt to show that branding would be good as well. But I do think you do a good job of including photos. You just clearly understand the importance of it. I think if you do have any jobs where their roof looked really rough previously, having before and afters, I think would be really impactful too for someone who's shopping around and looking at photos. Maybe having different types of, here's one right here. Yeah, more of these would be good. I think that'd be really impactful. Because like,
where's the after? I can't even see the before.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Like putting some more before and afters up, maybe showing some variety of types of roofing that you do, even if it's like an image where it is kind of like someone put together so that you can show like tile versus or shingles versus whatever, all in one image, so people can get an idea of what types of roofing you offer if they're looking through your photos as well. It's a good idea. There is a lot of repetition in here too. So I would work on minimizing how many photos are, if they're the same, not repeating them. Here's a truck, yeah. So more of these, but on a job site, visibility of the roof, preferably someone working on the roof, just because we want to give Google as much information as possible to tie our business name, even if it has roofing in it, with someone actually working on a roof, to help with that. I think that we're good there, because I want to make sure we have time for more questions at the end. So I'm going to go straight into kind of looking at the local grid. Your number 2, you have one person that is outperforming you, like from a service area or perspective. Let's see. You are 5 away. They are 2 away. That would be if it would be another one where I would like to see how you're ranking organically to determine if there's a possibility of you taking more of that. Oh, you're number 4 here, and there are people who are closer that you're outranking. That's a good sign that there are some opportunities here where you could perform better than you currently are in the maps. Some of these you're a little bit too far away, I think. Like here, you are outperforming this person right here, but they may have some other circumstances that may be coming into play since they are so much closer and they're not performing well. But yeah, I think there's some interesting opportunities that are likely in here. Yeah, Bob and Jerry's is 9, you're 11, but they're number 5 and you're number 10. Likely some opportunity there too. And like First Class Roofing is 6 away, and they're outranking closer competitors. So there's more at play than just proximity that's impacting the visibility in Google Maps. And that's good to know, because that means there's more opportunity for you if you take the right steps. Now, looking at the organic part of it, yeah. So similar to what we saw before, like kind of strong in their local pack. There's some 3s there, so they have some visibility in the actual local pack. There's probably likely some things that we can do here still to improve it further, and it's likely related to the things that we do here. So there are a lot of organic opportunities because you do not have as much visibility for inorganic, which tells me again is going back to content, technical SEO issues, on-site SEO issues that should be addressed that can improve your performance there. And I would do the same thing I did before. Take your top keywords, look at who's ranking for those, compare your content to theirs to see where you need to start off at. Make sure you're doing rig roofing, your trusted local roof repair company. Yeah, I would definitely look at these page titles and things like that. Like there's no mention of a city or anything in this page title, but the business name is in there twice. I would say roof repair company is the only keyword that's really in here. So there's a lot of missed opportunities to add keywords that are going to impact that ranking as well. And then headers here, roof repair. Yeah, no mention of a location in any of these header tags as well. You have H2 that says footer. Some of these H2 say search results. So definitely some things that need to be fixed on the site. And then things like your roofing types are being deprioritized, while things like search results is technically being prioritized by these header tags as well. So a lot of opportunities on page, I think, for this site to see a lot better performance on that could impact both their Google Maps and their organic visibility, which means a lot more people being seen by a lot more people for their actual services in this area.
Cool. Are we gonna? It's just like I could just let Amanda tell me everything forever. Shall we? If we go, we're at time for that. I know that there are a gazillion questions. So let's take the time to answer some of the questions that we're getting in the chat.
Sure.
So what have we got? Let's have a look. Dan asks, review responses, do they impact the ranking, and does recency and frequency also have an impact?
Your responses do not impact your rankings, but you should do it anyway because it is the best thing you do for your customers and potential customers. So it's not going to impact your rankings, but I would highly recommend responding to reviews. And if it's something that you're like, oh, I haven't been doing that, do not go back and respond to reviews that are like super old, because like I mentioned earlier, Google will notify the person who left a review, and then they'll be able to go back and say, I'm still angry about this, or and I still have feelings about this incident from 3 years ago that I need to express, and you don't want that. So like reviews in the last 3 or 4 months, if you haven't responded to them, maybe go back and respond to those, just so that you can show that you're listening, because that's kind of what it looks like to your customers. Like, are you listening to us, or is this another place where we're just giving feedback, but we're not actually engaging with you? And a lot of users don't realize that your Google Business Profile is not really something that most businesses actively engage with, and they're expecting it. So just to meet that expectation, I think responding to reviews will be something that you should do, whether it impacts your rankings or not. And it currently does not.
For sure. Another question. So Nikki asks, is posting low quality images more detrimental than not posting images as frequently? So are we going to get harmed by low quality images?
Like not like a penalty, but from Google or anything like that. But it kind of defeats the point of adding the images. That's how I would see it. Because it is to give customers an insight as to what your products are like, what your services are like, and what to expect. And if it's a low quality image, it's much more difficult for them to understand that from it. Like really, all my answers are going to go back to what is the expectation of your customer and what is the best for them. Because at the end of the day, that's what Google is trying to move towards with every update. There's some misses still, of course, with that, but that is going to be the end goal. So whatever's going to be best for your customer, it's going to be what's best for you to do for your business, especially because Google Business Profile impacts conversions so heavily. Because it's not just about being more visible, it's about being more visible and being able to get your customers to choose you over your competitor.
I love that. Yes, keeping that at the heart of everything, and then understanding a little bit about ranking factors is useful, but really is like, does this demonstrate engagement between me and a customer, and thinking about what do my customers actually need? That is perfect advice. Thank you. Right. Angel asks, well, this is a question and a half, isn't it? How can I rank for, I wish there was one answer to this. How can I rank for specific keywords? You can add keywords in product descriptions and business posts, but will making posts with keywords actually rank you for these keywords?
No, Google Posts will not impact your rankings, but also ranking for specific keywords is very difficult. Like if that is a goal of yours and you're not working with an agency who has a lot of experience in that specific industry, that you likely need to talk to them. But even then, I would say, why do you need to rank for these specific keywords? And it's the goal to get more leads, because you may be able to get more leads quicker without considering those keywords at all. So really it's considering like, what is the end goal? And if the end goal is more leads, you may find that you can, like, these super competitive keywords that you want may not be the best ones for you right now. And it could be something that you grow into as you build expertise and authority and trustworthiness with Google, with your content, and with improving your rankings for other keywords that could accumulatively bring in more leads than that one keyword could on its own.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. What a succinct answer to such a difficult question. Tyler asks, can you share your recommended hierarchy with homepage, service page, geo service page, etc.?
Yeah, so what I typically go with, and really I consider like the need for geo service pages to be based on the competition level. Not every business needs geo service pages. It really depends on how competitive that market is, how close are you to it, could you rank with it with one page versus needing to have several pages. And that is a whole nother, like that could be a topic for 3 hours, right? And you would really still have so much nuance left over to discuss. So I would say like mine is like root domain, service pages as a subfolder, geo as a subfolder, and geo service pages as children pages of the geo parent page. And that's typically how I see it work, even for the most competitive industries. So like if you're like in the car accident a lawyer in Atlanta, it would be mydomain.com/Atlanta/car accident lawyer. That would be likely what you would want to go with. And that's likely what almost every car accident lawyer in Atlanta is doing. So like it is, when the more competitive your industry is, the more likely things like that aren't going to have a significant factor unless you're way off base and your structure is not related to what you're doing. So it really, like, there's a lot of factors in there, but if you're going off anything similar to what I just said, you'll be fine. That it's not going to be a factor that's hurting your rankings at the very least.
Fabulous. I love that. Thank you. I think we've got time for one or two more, depending on how long they last. Brittany asked, why are home service-based businesses struggling to get verified?
I'm trying to figure out if it's like based in your home, or home service as in home services as in like plumbing and HVAC.
All right, let's take it that Brittany means she's a service-based business with, true service-based with no bricks and mortar, using the home address to verify.
Yeah, that is something that I feel like Google hasn't completely rectified yet, because they have two trains of thought about it. They don't necessarily want businesses using residential addresses, because it's very easy for someone to say, hey, all my employees, I need to use your address for the Google business profiles, and we'll have a ton all over the place. And then we can rank in any city we want to, because we're like a franchise and we have so many locations already. So I think that is part of it. So they're still iffy about letting people use residential addresses. I think that's what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate, because there's not really many options if you are a home-based business and you travel to your customers. I really think I really don't have a good answer to how to deal with that, because I see it happen. And if it gets suspended, your ways to get unsuspended for using a residential address are not very, very good. You can't use a PO box. You can't use a co-working space. You can't use like a UPS or a FedEx store. Like, there's not really a lot of options other than having like a actual business address to get around it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just if you can ever work out how much that could cost, even if it's a tiny little space somewhere, bricks and mortar, where you can have that staff, then that's the way. But it's difficult from a resources point of view, isn't it, for like a bootstrap small business to have that. So I really want to. Oh, it's time. If we do a super quick one, just a really quick one. Can we do a really quick one? Okay. We do this really quickly. Peter, when creating posts, can you use stock images slightly edited, or should they always be unique photos?
I'm going to always say that all your photos should be unique. I know that's hard to do for a business, but think about it as collateral that you can use across a lot of marketing initiatives, not just your Google posts. It is better for it to be unique, because people see stock images all the time, and that's not going to draw their eyes as much as something that is unique and something that they haven't seen on every competitor website, especially if they're shopping around and trying to figure out who they want to work with. And then I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of leaves a bad taste in their mouth if they see the exact same stock image across multiple sites either. So that would be another reason why I would want to avoid it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So that, very sadly for all of us, is all we've got time for today. So we need to say a super big thank you to Amanda for all of your time today and your insight and just for being delightful.
This was a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun to do things like this. So thank you for having me.
Hopefully we'll have you back again soon, hopefully. I just want to remind everyone that the replay to this is going to be live on the YouTube channel. And you can find that here. Where are we? Thanks for attending the webinar. You can follow Amanda on Twitter. Oh, here we are. This is her handle. You'll find her over on Twitter, sharing lots of exciting things. Are you there much at the moment, Amanda?
I'm kind of spending a little bit of time on LinkedIn recently, and I'll drop that in the comments too, so that
wicked. Yeah, so you'll find, we're all in lots of different places at the moment. So Amanda's over on Twitter, or whatever we're calling it this week, over there, but also on LinkedIn. So for everyone that has joined us today with your absolutely brilliant questions, thank you very, very much for those. So if you want to learn more about local SEO, remember we've got the Bright Local Academy. It's a great place to start. We've got courses on a range of topics, including Google Business Profile. We've also got a course from Amanda on there, so make sure you check them all out. And if you want to sign up to our newsletter, we send out a weekly digest email with the newest Bright Local articles, the local SEO articles, and invitations to all of the upcoming webinars. So thank you to Amanda, and thank you to our lovely audience.